Here we have the two front pieces for the top. They both cut on a fold. So you have these two pieces. What I am going to do is I'm going to show you on one side what I'm going to do with one piece. Here you have the piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin this. So I'm going to stitch it all the way around, all the way down. Also, I'm going to put a 1/2 inch dart, a 1 inch in length. I'm going to put a 1/2 inch dart, 1 inch in length on both pieces. So I'm going to do that with the other side also. And then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here's what the bra section of the top looks like after I've joined the outside, the front and back section together. I flipped it over. I also inserted a strap. I flipped it over and I just fold in 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and flat stitch this down on both sides. This is what the bottom of the top bra looks like once I flat stitched it down. So now I made a strap. I just 2 inches, flat stitch it all the way down, flipped it over, ironed it down, and I'm going to take this strap and run it through the hole on the bra section. All you need to do that is you take a pin, put the pin onto the strap, and then you go ahead and you just push the pin through. And this is what it looks like. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to this side. Here I've joined the liner and the front piece on both sides together. I left the 1.5 to 2 inches marking and I flipped it over, the same seam allowance that I had up here. I just flipped it over and flat stitched them down so they're both separated. So now what I'm going to do is I go ahead and I'm going to flat stitch from here to here. So I'm going to flat stitch all the way over. I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to flap stitch from one end to the next end. The strap, I placed it inside the top. So all I do is I take the strap, I just tuck it in inside the top. Make sure it's nowhere on the line that you're going to stitch down. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch all the way across. When I'm done that, I'm just going to, there's a opening section on both sides. I'm just going to turn the top out, right side out, through that opening section. So now I'm going to go ahead, once again, I'm going to flat stitch the bottom, and when I'm done that, I'm going to turn the top right side facing out, and I'm going to use the opening section to bring the top out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here we have the two bra pieces with the straps, and it's turned over on the right side. Here are the opening on both sides, and I also stitch a 1 inch seam allowance. straight down. So there's a space here, and then the stitch, and then the bra top. Also, here we have the strap for the bra. So this just goes inside of the space. Keep in mind, I'm using an elastic strap. So if you have a band or lace, you just make the stitch in here, make it to the size of your band or your lace. My strap is an inch, so I made it an inch. So this is what it's gonna look like once I run the strap through. So this is the bra cup. Also on the straps here, I'm gonna just make a loop, a 1-inch loop, so the end of the bra strap could go through here. So I'm just gonna do this, measure it, and then I'm just gonna flat stitch down the strap. So it's gonna have like a loop right here, and I'm gonna do that on both the strap ends, both ends of the straps. It's gonna get that loop where I'm gonna run the strap through. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now we're gonna work on the second part of the top. Here we have the front section of the top with seam allowance included, and we have the liner for the armhole. So I'm going to stitch the liner onto the armhole, and there is also a 1-inch flip that I just fold over, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, that's 2 times, and I'm just going to flat stitch all the way down. This would be the front. Okay, we also have the next section of the top, the armhole liner, and the same flap. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch 2 times, that would be 1 inch, and flat stitch that down. I'm also going to flat stitch down the armhole liner, and I'm also going to place a dart to one section of the top. Also, I have 2 strap pieces that's going to go to the waist of the front and the back top. So I'm going to go ahead now, stitch the armhole, and I'm also going to flat stitch down the front opening of the top, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, I've joined the shoulders together, and I also flat stitch down the line apart for the neckline. Now what I'm going to do is I'll pin the darts, one dart to the front, and I'll pin a longer dart to the back. And I've also pinned the sides, which is the front and the back joined together. I pinned it down. So I'm going to stitch the sides, I'm going to stitch the darts, and I'm also going to hem the top bottom waist of the top. So the waistline is going to be cut and hem, the darts is going to be sewn, the side's going to be sewn. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Here I've sewn the darts, joined the sides and the front darts. So there's 2 darts in the front, the bust and the underbust, and in the back there's just 1 dart. And this is the opening of the neckline, the sewn down. Now What I'm going to do next is I made a band. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to place the band alongside the waist. And I'm just going to go ahead and flat stitch all the way down, joining the band to the top. Also, I'm going to fold it over and flat stitch it down all the way on the wrong side. So you have that option as number one, or you could just fold it over and flat stitch it down together like this. But I'm going to use the first option. I'm just going to flat stitch and then I'm going to fold it over, fold in half of an inch and then flat stitch it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like.